Hello everybody. Today I am here to share with you my TBR for the week of graphic novels. I posted an announcement video for this readathon. I will link it below. I will include all the information about the readathon, but basically I am hosting just a little low-key graphic novel readathon, which I think, fingers crossed, when I get this video up, it should be starting in exactly a week. So I wanted to get my TBR up so people would have a little bit of time to see it and participate if you hadn't heard or you missed my announcement video. So the week of graphic novels is going to happen from September 26th through October 3rd. So it's an 8-day readathon, and basically just to participate, all you have to do is read graphic novels. Make it your focus. Try to read as many as you can. I did make a list of challenges if you want to check them out. Today, I'm just going to be sharing my TBR. So I went to the library today. It was really, really lovely because I hadn't been to a physical library in a really long time. And I picked up a big stack of graphic novels. Plus, I also have a couple graphic novels that I've checked out from my library online. And then I also have a few of my own graphic novels that I own that I would like to read. So I have a pretty big TBR. Might not hit all of them, but this is my selection of books that I would like to read during the week. Let's start out with the graphic novels that I already own. So these are my graphic novels that I have been meaning to get to, and I really need to do it during this week. I know I mentioned already that I have been hoping to read Stargazing by Jen Wang. This is a middle grade graphic novel. I think that this is like a contemporary story about a childhood friendship. It just looks really cute. I've read this author before and liked her, and the art style is extremely lovely. It's just like, it's bright and colorful and just really, really cute. And I love a middle grade contemporary. So this is my first pick. I also would like to read Speak, the graphic novel. So this is a graphic novelization of the book Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. So she wrote the text, and then Emily Carroll is the illustrator. I really love the book Speak from when I was a kid, and I recently reread it for a different reading vlog that you should be seeing pretty soon, actually. But I have owned the graphic novel for a little while, and since I just read the actual book again, I've been wanting to pick up this. So I think it'll be very fun to have the book fresh in my mind, and then I can compare the two. This is basically a story about a girl in high school. It's a YA contemporary. It's basically about her school year after something really traumatic happened over the summer. Next up, we have a reread that I've been saying I want to reread for a long time. I really want to reread the book Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash. This is a graphic memoir about a girl kind of discovering her sexuality at a summer camp. It's queer, it's really cute, it's really funny, it's very, very real and relatable. Because I also own the sequel, which is Lost Soul, Be at Peace, and I really want to read this book as well. This is basically, I think, following her after her summer camp experience and how she's like processing that in her real life. So yes, I want to reread this and then get to this one. Finally, it's been way too long. I think my library has an audiobook version of this book, which is another reason that I've been kind of wanting to reread it, is because I kind of want to try the audiobook and see if I like it. Possibly that could happen during the readathon. And then the last book that I own that I've really been wanting to get to is called Rosalie Lightning by Tom Hart, and this is a graphic memoir that I think is following his experience losing his child. So like, I think his daughter died really young. So this looks very sad, but very good. And I've had it on my shelf for a long time. I really need to get to it. This is a book that I don't really know why I've been putting off reading it. That's it for all the books that I own. I definitely probably should have picked more of my own books, but I went a little bit hard at the library. So let's get into it. First up, we have Meal. This is by Blue Delaquanti and Soleil Ho, and this is, I think, that like a cute little like romance graphic novel centered around food. The main character is a chef. It just looks very like short and sweet and just very cute, and a bunch of stuff about food, which I think looks fun. And I don't know, these three main characters, I really like the way that they're drawn. I think they just look really fun. So I'm excited to read a book about them. And now I'm looking at the back, and it looks like it is a local author. So that's cool. Next up, I grabbed Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too. Well, everyone's a alien. I don't really know if you're supposed to like read the misspellings out loud. I'm not gonna lie. To me, this book doesn't look super interesting, but I have continually heard like the most glowing praise about this book, so I've just been curious. I think that the author, Johnny Sun, was like creating these little like web comics and then he put them together into a book, and they're supposed to be like really cute and like life affirming and wholesome. I just keep hearing people say how much they love this book, so I'm really curious because of that. But I won't lie, me like flipping through it, I would never pick this up on my own. It's like a lot of like really simple little drawings, and I think it's following this alien and he doesn't speak English very well. I don't know. Next up, let's get this out of the way. It is huge. I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason I picked this up was because it was so big and it made me really curious. This is an over 500-page graphic novel. It's called Lighter Than My Shadow by Katie Green, and I believe from looking through this, it appears to be a graphic memoir about the author's experience with an eating disorder. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I really like the art. The way that these characters are drawn. It's very simple, but I don't know, it catches my eye. Next up, I have Badawi by Layla Abdulrazak. This one is about a young Palestinian boy, and I think that it kind of is somewhat historical, and it kind of goes through the history of Palestine and a lot of the oppression that Palestinian people have faced throughout the years. It appears to be a coming-of-age story that takes place at a refugee camp. And the author is, I think, Palestinian-American. I'm definitely looking forward to being able to read this and learn a little bit more about the history of Palestine. And just especially, I think that this is going to be an important read because there's been a lot of increased violence recently against Palestinian people. Next up, I have this book called Minus by Lisa Nafziger. This is a YA thriller, which I just thought sounded cool. I didn't want to look too deeply at the plot because like with a mystery thriller, I kind of want to go in not knowing much about it, but I think it's like following this teenage girl and somebody maybe gets murdered, she's on the run. It's really colorful and like clean art, not a lot of text, so I think I'll be able to get through this really quickly. Next up, I have Open Earth by Sarah Merck and Eva Cabrera. And this is a like futuristic sci-fi sort of graphic novel. I think that it is focusing on kind of like romance and a future where there's a lot more queer sexualities. Again, I really like the art. It's like very, very colorful and just looks fun and bright. And I really liked this space shuttle like setting. I think that they live on like a space station that's like a satellite. I'm just intrigued by that sci-fi setting, and I think this looks fun. Next up, I have Mouse Volume 1 by Art Spiegelman. I own the second volume, but I don't own the first one, so I've never actually picked it up. So I saw that the first one was at the library, and I figured I should read it. If I end up liking this, I own the second one, so I could potentially read the second one during the readathon as well. But Mouse is a really popular graphic novel. I believe it's the true life story of the author's father, who was a Holocaust survivor. Next up, I have this book called Red Winter by Anneli Furmark, and it is translated by Hannah Stromberg. This just takes place, I think, like in kind of like an isolated town in winter in 1970s Sweden. Never heard of this one, but it was just something that I saw on the shelves and I was intrigued. It fits a couple of my reading challenges, so I had to grab it. Next up, I have Moon Cop by Tom Gauld, which is a book that has like been on my radar for a really long time. I don't remember why I initially learned about this book or why I wanted to read it, but I have had this book in the back of my mind forever. I think it's about a robot that lives on the moon. Potentially it's a human, I'm not totally sure. I thought it was a robot, but it's like about like a moon colony, so it's a sci-fi. It's very like simplistic art, and it looks like it's going to be really easy to get through. Yeah, I'm just curious about this one. And then the last book that I grabbed from my library is You Brought Me the Ocean by Alex Sanchez and Julie Moreau. This, I think, is a queer, like YA contemporary story. It seems to have like ocean themes. I mean, I love a queer YA contemporary, and that applies to graphic novels as well. And then there were 2 graphic novels that I've checked out from my library digitally. So the first one is called A Map to the Sun by Sloan Leong, and this follows like a girls basketball team, and the art to me is stunning, so I just was very drawn to it. And then the last book on my TBR, the second book that I checked out digitally, is Camp Spirit by Axel Lenoir, and this is another summer camp book. And I think that the main character is a camp counselor and she stumbles upon a mystery, something like that. So I want to know what happens. And that is my entire TBR. So I have 16 books on my TBR, which is 2 books a day, which honestly is not bad. Not bad at all. I probably won't read all of these, but I think it is doable. And then as far as the challenges go, let's talk about those really quickly. I think that I'm able to meet most of the challenges with just like a small handful of books. So let me pick those out. Okay, so these 5 books should cover all 8 challenges. A graphic memoir. Honor Girl is a graphic memoir. Author of the text is a person of color. Stargazing by Jen Wang will count for that. Read a book from at least 2 different age ranges. These 2 books can count for that as well, middle grade and YA. For a book where the main character is an animal, I have Mouse, because all of the characters are drawn as mice and cats. So they're not literally animals, but they're drawn that way, so that counts. Red Winter is going to count as my book that embodies a season. Winter is literally in the title. The cover is very wintry. Most of the art flipping through this, it's a very, very wintry setting. They're all wearing the winter outfits. There's a lot of like snowscapes. So I think that this one is definitely very wintry. For an LGBTQIA plus main character, Honor Girl is also going to count for that. I have lots of queer books on my TBR, but this is just one of them. For a monochrome color palette, Mooncop is going to work for that challenge because it's all different shades of blue. It's lots of like kind of dark blues, lighter like slate gray blues, all a monochrome blue for this book, which I think is very nice. And then the last challenge is to read a translated book, and Red Winter also accounts for that. This has a translator credited in the beginning. I'm not completely sure what language this was originally in, but I'm assuming Swedish. The author is Swedish, and it takes place in Sweden. So that's it. These 5 are probably going to be my main priority, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting to a lot of graphic novels during the week. Let me know what's on your TBR. If you are participating, I'm really excited. I hope maybe this gave you some ideas or some inspiration. And yeah, I'll be reading all of these during that week. And I'll be vlogging. I'll post my vlog, I hope, right at the end of the week there. And I hope that you do as well. I hope that you read some graphic novels. I'm super excited. All the feedback I've gotten has been really positive, which is just really, really nice. And I just hope that everybody who participates has fun and reads some good books. But yeah, that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.